Good afternoon, good people. Welcome to another episode of the Wake Up with Purpose podcast. This is your host, Kaz Langness, and we have a special guest on today, residing out of Indiana and becoming one of the greatest coaches out there in this world today, Coach Fester, and his words of wisdom that he was going to share today with you guys. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to this conversation. Make sure that as you listen to this riveting conversation and it's engaging, that you pick up on something, because you know this is a platform where anyone who is on here has a mission that they have set themselves out upon and that we can learn from. So that's just what we are here to do on this show today, is help you guys pick up on something, whether it's a athlete, whether it's a striving individual who wants to be a coach, whether it's a current coach, whatever it may be. Hopefully you can pick up on something and walk away after these next 30 minutes with something even more impactful to your life. So, without further ado, Coach, let yourself in. Who are you, Coach? Who are you?
Hey, yeah, appreciate the entrance. Yeah, I'm Coach JD Feaster, and I've been coaching for about 18 years now. Started coaching as soon as I graduated college, and basically when I graduated December 2008, yeah, December 2008, I sent out an email to all the schools in Lafayette asking to volunteer to, coach and be a part of any team I can help out. And the girls basketball program reached out to me first, and I was a eighth grade volunteer coach my first year, and after that I became the head coach and then varsity assistant for the girls basketball program at Jeff High School. And then after that I moved up and was the Faith Christian High School JV head coach, and then they ended up making me the head coach the next year. And then after that, I ended up going to an AAU program based in Lafayette, Indiana, with Dustin Harvey called the Indiana Ice. It's a branch off of Indiana Elite, and we taught and coached kids from second grade all the way to seniors in high school, and we took them to national tournaments and all DITA sponsored tournaments, so they could play in front of college coaches and have that opportunity to play the next level. And after I got done doing that, I did some personal training and one-on-one basketball training, and then wanted to get back into the school corporation, get back into coaching, and this Triton Trojans job in Bourbon, Indiana, came open, and was blessed to have that opportunity to be the head coach there and bring my wisdom and my motivation and every winning mentality to the school. So excited for the season. I got hired in mid July, so unfortunately didn't have the most of the summer to work with the girls, but got to help them out a lot during these open gyms, and then just be excited when the season starts and get going and be ready for some basketball.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Coach, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Want to open up with this question, okay? Because I know that being a high school coach, you got to deal with a lot of different things, right? As a college coach, you don't always have to deal with the parents, right? But as a high school coach, how do you balance all that is on your plate as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, as someone who the parents will also fall onto at times, and just you know with your own home life.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is with parents is communication. Is clear communication with them, like your expectations. So then that way as well, they know, like during the games and stuff, like, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Here's the stuff that, I'm really going to push the girls for. Here's that stuff. So if your daughter's doing that, yes, they're going to be on the floor. If you're, because sometimes, you're going to deal with parents of, about playing time and other thing like that. And it's, understandable. Like, of course, we want every girl to play every single minute. But the biggest thing is to make sure that the parents and everyone knows, and the players, that communication is just so key, that they know what the expectations are, they know what the rules are, and then you can kind of, and then just talking with them and listening to them sometimes, just letting them be able to talk instead of just saying, oh, I don't want to talk to you, you signed the thing, don't do this until no. I'm one of those, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation with somebody, and something that we can talk, like, two adults, then that's great. Then we can kind of work something out and then both kind of be on the same page. And then all I care about is what's best for the, the athletes. That's why I coach. I coach because I want to make a difference in a, young kid's life. So, as long as myself, my coaching staff, and the parents, and that's what we put first, and that's our priority. I think that's the best way to have a good relationship with everybody, and make everything a lot smoother.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's been a cultural change that you are looking to make?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing would be for me would be, you know, mentally, because I mean, sports to me is there's a lot of physical attributes you have to have, but right up here, mentally, it's so huge. And at the level of the high school level, it's a lot of games come down to your mental. I mean, the kids can do things, but in the end, you got to have athletes that are mentally strong. You got to have someone to be able to handle pressure, what to do in that scenario, how to handle, an away crowd, how to handle, things that are going on at school and things like that. Because it's so important that if we can just get the focus on basketball when they're on the court, and not worrying about, oh, hey, this and that, and then having things affect them during the game. Like if you miss a shot, are you just going to put your head down and you know pout and walk back on defense, or are you going to say, hey, it's okay, I'm going to get back on, I'll be the first one back on defense, and I'm going to give everything I have to get that ball back for us, to give us another opportunity. So my biggest thing right now is working with the girls is just giving them confidence, and just the point of, hey, you're going to make a mistake, but what you do from after that mistake is what kind of athlete you're going to be. So that's
Mm,
one thing I'm really trying to focus on right now, is getting the girls just to be confident, and not worry about some of the little things. And if I always kind of tell them, if you're going to make a mistake doing the right thing. Making a bounce pass down to a post player. For some reason, it bounces off her foot. That's okay. Instead of doing, oh, hey, let me try to throw it over two people and her, and it goes out of bounds. At least you're trying to do the right thing by doing a bounce pass. Or, hey, you tried to box out, just they got over your back and got it. They didn't call the foul. That's okay. I want you doing things the right way, and everything else, just, fall into place after that.
yeah, yeah. Like I always say, when you're in that weight room, when you're in that off season, right, or practice, it really comes down to, in the weight room, it's 80% strength, 20% mental, right? When you're in that game, when
Yep.
you got to face opposition, when you got to face an opponent, when you have to face, someone who has scouted you, it's 80% mental, 20% strength. And if you don't respond with the proper mindset when adversity strikes, when something doesn't go your way, when you have a turnover, when you miss a shot, how you respond will dictate the outcome of what's going to happen in the next moment. What's going to happen next? Play
Mhm.
mentality is what we always speak on as coaches. Next play mentality. This is a game. You who has ever made 100% of the shots? You got to miss shots. You got to miss at times. You have to at least try to make it. But even in life, and that's why sports is such a great tool to help people learn, especially as young athletes, is because if you go for everything in this world, if you try to become the best individual you can possibly be, you're going to fail at times. You're going to miss some shots that you wanted to make. You're going to miss some opportunities. You're going to miss some out on some things that you thought you would get. But in the game of basketball, it teaches you so much about take the shot, take the shot, make the pass. And like you said, at least you were trying to do the right thing. At least you were
Absolutely.
trying to,
I
yeah.
agree. That's one thing I've always, tell the girls, like, I'll never get mad at you, or you'll never see me yell at you for missing a shot, because no one's going to
Hmm.
make every single shot. Now, I might get on you for your shot selection. You come down and you shoot five threes, and we get five air balls or five. But just, hey, it's not today. Let's just
Yeah.
get to the hoop, or let's swing the ball. Like, I might get on you for that. For I'll never, as a coach, yell at a player for missing a shot. My biggest thing that I'm getting on them for is boxing out, playing strong defense, sprinting up and down the floor, being a good teammate, things like that, where that's the stuff they don't that I'm trying to get through their heads is how important that is in the game of basketball. Because if you do those little things right, I don't care if you can put a ball in the hoop or not. You do those things right, everything else will come around. And
Right.
that's just why it's so important that they get these fundamentals and the little things done. And then, like you said, no one's perfect. We're all going to miss shots, just like in life. And that's what one thing is about sports is how it helps you with life. Is you learn from heartbreaks and how to handle that and how to what do you do in that situation. How do you grow from that? How can you make yourself a better person? How can you be better? How can you work harder to so you don't have that feeling after each game and stuff. So that's what I've always sports has done for me, and all my coaches have made such a great influence in my life, and that's why I wanted to coach since I've been young.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so vital, that these kids and these young adults who are growing up to be great young women understand that, especially with the confidence thing too. I confidence is really lacking, and on the women's side of the game and women as in general, I think they definitely struggle with confidence more than us men, because
Yeah,
of the societal pressures of how you have to look, how you have to dress. They care a little bit more about how they look. Like
yeah,
us guys,
oh
we're
yeah,
gonna come
yeah.
in, we're gonna step out the door. We don't care what our hair looks like. We're just gonna go, right? And then you have these
Yep,
girls even before the game, oh, my ponytail's not the right way.
yep,
And so, and that can stem to them not even being confident in the game. Deion Sanders says it best: "You look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, to pay good."
yep,
Right? And if a girl's
yep,
ponytail is in the right way, that can affect her whole mindset during that game, and it's the
yep.
craziest thing. So, how do you help these young women really develop that confidence inside of themselves?
Oh, absolutely. And it started on day one. The first day I got introduced as the coach, I came to a practice, and they were doing a drill, and I was like, I'm just going to watch and kind of observe. And I said, I'll kind of start taking over after the second day because I want to go in there and start doing stuff. And they were doing like a drill, and somebody was kind of going to be last or something. And I'm not joking. The clapping was like a golf clap. Like it was the softest thing. I said, "What in the world is that?"
Hmm.
I said, "Girls, this is a basketball floor. We need to be loud. We need to be cheering. We need to be excited. It's just like it's everything's just kind of real timid, real kind of going through the motions. Like they're all really quiet and shy. And sometimes I ask a question, they'll be like, I'm like, I can't hear a word you're saying louder. And so I've been like the whole month and a half is a lot of it is just getting their confidence built up. And I think a lot of it could be confidence, but just tell them, making sure and teaching them the importance of, communication on the basketball floor. You cannot have a quiet team if you don't communicate on defense, you're not communicating on offense. I said, I can't be the only one on the sideline yelling, hey, do this, 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 and this, and this. You girls need to be yelling, hey, screen left, screen right, hey, help side, help side, help side, hey, screen right, screen left. Just, communicate with each other, and then also just enjoy the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you're like, I'm like, man, are you okay today? Yeah, I'm like, well, just smile. It's okay to enjoy
Right.
being, you want to do sports because you love it, and
Right.
you want to be around your teammates. You want to be, there's a time and place to, get down to business, but sometimes it's like, man, it's supposed to be fun too. So,
Mm.
the biggest thing is just getting them to be excited to play basketball and wanting to play basketball. Because if you're excited and wanting to, you're going to work harder. If you're just
Right.
kind of doing it as, oh, because someone's forcing me to do it, you're, are not going to be getting what you want out of it. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's some of the most important things that that we have to just remember to do in life is have fun with it. I always tell my athletes, and in life and in your sport and whatever you do, there's two things that you can always control: your effort and are you having fun. I
yep,
I know that in this process of the journey of becoming a champ, having a championship culture, becoming a championship individual and mindset, it's not always going to be enjoyable. We have to go through the heartbreak, like you said. We have to go through the pain. We have to go through The uncomfortable times, we have to go through adversity. We're gonna have to face some opponents who may have an undefeated record and we don't have a close to a winning record. But is there fun and enjoyment and still to be found there? And the answer is 100% yes. Like conditioning, that's not always fun. That's not always fun. But what is fun is looking left and looking right and knowing that it's not just you doing it. This is a family we're forming here. This is a family that we're going through it with. And realizing like this is an ability that we have to be able to move our bodies. And we're able to play a game that no one's promised to be able to see or play, but we're able to do that. So, what smile can I put on my face right now? Who can I go high five? Who can I clap louder for? That's the fun part of it. Winning's fun too. Losing is not always fun, but winning's fun, but losing can be fun if you learn something from it.
Absolutely. And that's our job as coaches to, bring the environment. If I'm not excited, if I'm not motivated, if I'm not working hard, how can I ask my athletes to do the same thing?
Hmm.
That's why it's so important for me to always be involved at practices. Like today, I was dripping in sweat, and they're like, "Coach, you got sweat dripping off your nose." I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be working as hard as you girls." I said, "I give you everything I have because I'm asking you to give me everything you have." And it's just, again, getting that mentality of just being excited and wanted to work hard because, like you said, no one likes to run up and down the floor. Nobody likes to do any conditioning things, but you have to do that stuff. And that's another job as a coach too, to make drills where there's conditioning involved, but a lot of it they don't think about it. And they're just playing the sport, doing these drills, but they're actually getting a lot of good conditioning. So
Hmm.
it's, you got to have tough practices because if you practice hard, you play easy. So if you
Hmm.
practice easy, you're not going to be able to play. You're going to play easy and you're going to, see the results out of it. So if you can make practice hard and then the games will become easy. And, I know for sure that, we're a 1A program and we have a lot of 2A and 3A opponents that we're going to be going against. So bigger schools and everything. And that's one of those I've been trying to tell the girls. I said, I don't care if we're outsized or whatever. I don't want anybody to be afraid. And I've been teaching them like how to, guard bigger kids that are new or, what to do and stuff and the little things. But it's like, you do not need to be afraid of anything. You just need to go out there, have fun, be yourselves, and play the game of basketball I'm teaching you, and we're going to be just fine.
Right, right, right. Yeah, one thing that you mentioned is practice. If you practice hard, playing can become easier. Why is practice so important? Because I think people often overlook that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some people just think, oh, hey, well, we got this one coach or we got this, so we're going to win. That's not how life works. Life works is you work hard and you get results from that. You go to work every day and that's what gets you a paycheck. It's not just, oh, I don't have to go to work today, Monday through Thursday this week because I just don't feel like, and they'll still send me a check. That's not life. You got to work hard to win in the game. Winning is hard too. That's what, kids got to understand. Winning is hard, because that other team is working as hard as you are right now during the off season. They want to win just as bad as you. So what's the difference between us and them is, how we prepare, because one team prepared, strong and hard and went all out and everything during practice, and another opponent might have just kind of went through the motions. Well, that's going to show up on the game time. And you last thing you want to do is go at the end of the game and go, man, if we would have just prepared harder, girls, if we'd have just done this. You can't have those days. You have to
Yeah.
have it where you're practicing the way you want to play, and you want that mentality set straight away. And because that's just so big, it's basketball in any sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Most definitely. How important is the mental side of things? 'Cause I know we tapped on it, touched on it with, going out there and being mentally prepared, right? But how important is the mental side of things in this sport, especially right now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's just, and then not just. even the sport, how about just social media? The stuff that these kids have to deal with that we never had to deal with in our younger generations, where you're basically going to be viewed all the time. People are taping everybody, everyone's recording everything. So now you're like, oh hey, I got to impress these people, these people, these people, these people. But if they're going to talk, it's got to be hard. I understand it for this younger generation. It's got to be, they got to be mentally strong, because there's so much stuff going on in the world that if they let it affect them, it's just going to tear them down. And sometimes you just got to get around your support system and stay close to those people that care about you. And then also be able to be mentally strong when someone disagrees with you, or, things don't go your way. That's okay. Again, that is life. And mentally, you can either just give up and say, I don't want to do it anymore. I can't do this. Or you keep fighting through, because every day is going to be in life is going to be tough, but you got to fight each day. And nothing's ever going to be handed to you in life. And the harder you work for things, and the more you're just mentally strong in the aspect of, like, nothing can stop you and nothing is going to bring you down, will just help tremendously in sports and in life. And it is tough too. You got school, and you got kids that got classes and online schooling now. And that's a lot of preparation too. You got to do that, and then also go to basketball practice, and then possibly do homework again at night. So, I mean, any athlete that plays sports, I'm always a big fan of, because the sacrifices they're making is huge. They're not just going to school, doing the work, and then going home. They're doing, an extracurricular activity, and they're really pushing themselves and adding more to their plate during their average day.
Yeah, yeah. It's a tough world right now with this social media stuff, and you know, some high schoolers may not have to go through as much criticism after a game or anything like that as certain other ones may be, but it's still, you see so much online, like the comparison route, um, the oh, I don't have this, or I'm not as talented as them, or how come they can shoot so well, how come they can jump so high, or this person, is getting an offer or scholarship, whatever it may be. And then you have the NIL world too, where it's like, oh, this high schooler is getting this, like I should go for that, or it's a, I think it's there's pros and cons to everything,
Yep.
but it's been a little messy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's some of it's just, again, I'm kind of happy I never had to live through that, and my biggest thing is just trying to support these kids through all this, because again, like you said, the NIL stuff's happening, and there's a lot of behind the under the table kind of stuff going on. And it's kind of, sometimes you got to explain, hey, here's what's going on. It's like, just keep, I know you're working hard, I know you just keep trying, and we're going to keep doing this and that, because when in life you're going to do it the right way. And then when you do things the right way, you'll be rewarded for it. And I know when you got everything on social media where people are like, hey, these people don't work, they just can do online stuff all the time, and they don't have to do this, and they, oh look, they're selling these or selling that or wearing this kind of brand of clothes and all this. And there's just so much stuff going on now where these kids have to see that stuff and go, oh, do I hop on board with that and do what everyone else is doing, or do I do my own thing? I mean, they got a lot of temptations in their life right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Coach, what do you look for in a player?
Absolutely. So the thing I'm looking for in a player is, what do you do on, it's like, so basketball to me is, yes, dribbling and shooting is very important to me. It is, because that's just part of the game. But what's more important to me is, do I have a girl that just goes out there and does everything else right? And I'm fine with playing people like that, because if I got a girl out there sprinting 24/7 up and down the floor, giving everything they have, playing strong defense, boxing somebody out, communicating on defense, supporting their teammate, high fiving people, being, they miss a shot, they don't put their head down, they just keep playing hard. Things like that, that they can control, because again, dribbling and shooting is hard. That's something I'm, always try to tell the girls, I can teach you to do that, but these other things is more just your heart. Do you really want to do it? You know, you got all kinds of, you watch different sports, a lot of people don't box out. A lot of people don't, screen away. So a lot of people don't communicate because they just, dribble down there and hit a three. Well, not everybody's going to be able to do that. So when we do the little things right, if we can get a whole team to do that, that's going to give us more opportunities. One, to shoot and score. And then number two, to push, like if we're going to push the ball on offense, I want the ball up the floor within like three passes. So my biggest thing is who's going to push themselves all the way. And, one thing coaching 1A basketball, every girl plays three sports.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different mindset if I'm coaching a 1A program or a 5A program. If I coach a 5A program, most of those kids are probably going to play one sport because they got to focus on that just to make that team. So in that case, if I'm coaching a 5A, I would expect that person to be in the gym every single day and doing this other stuff. But with the 1A programs, every single one of my girls is doing three sports. So is it great that they're staying active? Absolutely. I think that's wonderful because that's going to be great for us that they're going to be in shape and they're going to do that. Just unfortunately, it's hard for them to do basketball, volleyball, and we'll say softball in one day. And it's one of those you want them to concentrate anyway on the sport they're at. But it's just kind of a thing you got to work through as a coach, and again, getting them mentally strong and working with the players that just might only do basketball and getting them all on board and it's a tough thing, but it's a great experience for me, and it's a great. I love the challenge.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned the little things, and I love that. I harp on that message so much because everything is found in the small details. The small details. When you try to fix your jump shot, you're not trying to go, okay, if I'm a righty, I'm gonna go lefty. That's a little bit too much of a drastic switch, right? But it's just, hey,
Mm-hmm.
where are your feet at? Is your elbow tucked in? Where's your thumb at? Right? It's the small things. And I was a player who got cut from my seventh grade basketball team, and I had the opportunities to practice with them for the year. But I didn't get much playing time ever until I got into college. And my basketball coach was also the football coach. And we had a great football program up in my high school, one stage, but he always harped on do the small things the right way. And when I'm with these athletic programs, I'm always telling them it's respect the small things. Respect the small things. I'm a man of faith. And so when the Lord says he who can respect the small will be entrusted with much larger things.
Yes.
And when we think about just the small things, help side defense, just one step over, see, making the right pass, the next pass your teammate open, um, and then taking the charges, right?
Yeah.
Sacrificing your body. That that down the line when it's a four-quarter game and you take a charge in the first quarter, yeah, it may not be remembered, but you just got someone in possibly in foul trouble. It's the small things that really truly matter. And it goes back to what we talk about in practice. Are you doing the small things in practice the right way? So I love that you harp on that, coach, because it's so important to, really instill each and every single day, not just in the sport, but in life too, because we're going to be entrusted with so many small things that if we don't respect them, we're not going to even be able to reap the larger things.
Yeah, that's 100. I mean, 100% agree with you. And it's one of those things when I first came to that first practice. I said, girls, I can go around this school and I can find five people that can do boxing out, defense, and stuff like that. Has nothing to do with dribbling and putting a ball in the hoop. I said, I will go. I will then teach those five girls how to do that stuff. But I said, I need my group of girls and the people, my players, to do these little things right because, like you said, same thing in life. Just like if I'm running a company, I want the people that are doing the behind the scenes stuff, doing the little things right, trying to build my, company up more than just the one goes, well, I'm just good at this only and I'm just going to be good at that. No, it's like you got to do a lot of stuff to be an overall round good player. I just don't need a girl out there that can hit 25 shots and that's all she produces for me. It's like I need a girl that can score 10 points, give me 5 rebounds, give me 4 assists, give me four screening aways where you got a teammate open, or like you said, give me a girl that has two charges, stuff like that. To me, is what an overall athlete is, and that's who I want on my floor. Now, I don't need the person that's going to average 25, 30 points a game. I want the person that's going to hit the open teammates, also score, make the right pass, make the right decisions. And, if I get five girls that can do that, we're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And, that's
Yeah,
my goal. And, thing is my job as a coach to get them and do that consistently and, continue that through the whole year once we start.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Coach, how do you, as a man of faith, right? How do you lead and allow your light to be shown in your team?
Absolutely. So when you're coaching in public school, it gets kind of a touchy situation, and I understand that. So, the biggest thing I've always done is working with public schools or things like that is how I live my life. How do I treat people? Treat people with respect, have a smile on my face, because those things like that, you're always watched. When I'm wearing a Triton Trojan shirt out in the gas station, I'm representing myself and my family, my faith, and then also my school and my community. So that's very important to me that it don't matter if I'm on the basketball floor, it don't matter if I'm at a gas station, I'm at a supermarket. I want to treat everybody with respect and love. I want to, smile and greet people, and I want this people to, just feel better about themselves every single day, because if we can just make the world a little bit happier place, there's nothing wrong in life or anything that I've never heard anyone say, well, I was been nice to people or I'm polite and all this and bad things, come from that. No, nothing comes wrong. Nothing's wrong with being polite with people, being respectful for people, listening to people. And if you do that, then the girls can see that, then they're going to start doing that as well.
Right,
And because if not, they're just going to be like, well, Coach JD doesn't do that. He's disrespectful to the staff. He's disrespectful to us. You never see him in the community. He doesn't go to this. He goes, I want to be the coach where they go, man, look at him. He's out there going to community events. He's at charity events. He's at this. He's here every day. He's here the first one there, the last one to leave. He's always available when we need him. That's just how I'm basically show my faith. Is just trying to live my like Christ and love everybody, and that's kind of where, 'cause I just don't want to ever push faith on anybody. I'm always open to talk and stuff, but with the public school, I just one of those things where I'm just going to show you my faith by how I coach, how I live my life, how I treat everybody, and how my family is.
yeah, amen, amen. It's a disgrace that we even have to go through that. Like it's sad that this country is like this, where a private school can do that, but a public school can't. And the importance of, honestly, faith. Like, my dad was a teacher in a public school for 39 years, and everyone loved him because of how he lived his life. But he taught history, so of course he's always tempted to, like, put the word in there, but going about it in a way where, let me just lead with my character. Yeah, people know that my class may be hard. It's history. We got all these dates. We got all these people we got to remember. There's 2,000 King Georges, 20,000 Queen Elizabeths, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so history's hard. And so people understand that. But he also was a coach too, and was around the sports, so people were able to see him and get to know him. And I was like, hey, it's Mr. Lincoln. Being from a small town too, it's also different. But
Mhm.
that being able to be a light by how you live your life, and being able to use that as a testimony, and how help others see that you are not just living your life because and for you, but you're living it for the King and for Jesus Christ, can only goes so much further than sometimes our words. Some people say, like,
Yeah.
people don't need us to preach a sermon. They need to see how we live our life.
Absolutely. That's why God, Jesus calls us to be his hands and his feet. And that's right there by our actions and how we act and treat people.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I love it. I love it. Well, Coach, we're about to wrap this up here, but I got a quick rapid fire for you, okay?
Okay.
Build, your basketball player, your build the strongest basketball player using only college players.
Ooh, man, that is tough. Let's go. Give me. Um, I'll
And
tell
it
you
could
right
be
now.
past, current.
Yeah, give me Michael Jordan in his shooting and
Okay.
confidence. Give
Okay.
me Magic Johnson when he's at Michigan State as passing. Give me Larry Bird's footwork,
Mm.
and give me. Ooh, um, I would go with. Yeah, that's what I'll probably go with. I think that's pretty much I got everything covered. But yeah, that would be my
Who's
the
defense?
confidence of Michael Jordan. Oh, defense, give me. I wish I could do. I almost. I'll go with. I know I loved watching Victor Oladipo play when he was at IU, and that man was a lockup defender, and he just played hard the whole time. So give me Victor.
Man, that's a pretty solid player right there. That's a pretty solid
Yep.
player. Man, that's good. That's good. All right, last one. Five people, dead or alive. Who would you have for? I mean, yeah, who would you have for dinner?
Ooh. I
Five people,
mean,
dead or alive.
I'll
Who would you
take
have?
my first one. I want Jesus there, so I want him at the
Mhm.
table. I'd say next one I like to talk with Abraham Lincoln, and third one I would like to talk to would be I've always wanted Lou Holtz. I'm a big Notre Dame football player. I always love whatever how he coached, and I'd love to have Lou Holtz there. Let's see. Then I would also want. Man, there's just so many. It's hard to kind of think of all the people choose. I'd say, oh, my grandma who passed away. I'd love to have dinner with her and talk to her again. And then I would say my fifth one would be my wife, because without her, I mean, especially as a coach, your wives are the most important people in your lives, because the sacrifices they make. When we have to be at practice all day, we have to be at the games, we got to watch film, we got to be here, we got to be there, we got to be the first one to be at practice, the last one to leave. And so I'd say my wife and my family is just, for sure my biggest, support system. And I would want them with me, just because of how much they sacrifice for me. And, I just want to be there for them and, show them how much love and appreciation I have for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, coach, this is the last one. If you could leave one piece of lasting advice to the next generation, what would it be?
There is no tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow to go be great. Don't say tomorrow you're going to work hard. Don't say, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow, because tomorrow's not promised. Do that right now. Be great right now. Work hard today. Get what you want in life right now. Work towards it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow to be that better person, or to go after something you want to do. Do it today, because tomorrow's never promised.
I love it. I love it. Where can people find you, coach?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Coach JD 1985. And that's pretty much the only thing I really got. And then just check out the Triton Trojans girls varsity basketball. Follow us on Max Preps or anywhere that we can get the score and stuff, and kind of just watch how the season goes in my year one. And love for anybody to be a part of my journey, be a part of the journey with us and myself and the team and everything. And we're just excited to get going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So his link will be under in the description below. So make sure you follow along their journey and wish you best of luck, coach. I know that you're going to do some great things with this program. Looking forward to following along this journey of yours and the girls. And shoot, let November come. Let November come because it's coming
Absolutely.
fast. It is
Oh yeah,
coming fast.
it'll fly. Yeah.
Hmm. But this has been the Wake Up with Purpose podcast with Coach JD Feaster. And you Guys, have a blessed week.